the end of this weekend, Prada, who is challenged for the America's Cup a record 5 times, and New York Yacht Club, who held the America's Cup for 132 straight years, one of them's going home.
We opened the door and they just walked right through and took the opportunity presented.
American Magic is in a very vulnerable spot right now, very vulnerable.
We have to get Patriot into a spot that she can do what she was designed to do.
Sorry, I can't get rid of that number, 53.3 knots.
Today were the hardest condition we ever sailed these boats.
Whoa! Skidding sideways, skidding hard sideways. It's 2 boats not just against themselves, but against the race course right now.
Nobody wants to lose, but this is a sport, and it's not about how you lose, it's about how you react.
Smooth as silk today for the Italians.
I think we react very well.
Rossa go 2-0 against Patriot.
Well, the message to the team is simple. On board racing, we have to understand the mistakes that we made and improve upon them.
This is a tough day for this team.
There's nothing that gets you going more than getting your teeth kicked in.
Luna, Rossa, Prada, Pirelli are in the box seat. They only need 2 more wins and they go straight through to the Prada Cup final.
If you need any more motivation other than winning, then you're probably in the wrong game.
Tēnā koutou katoa. This is Aotearoa, New Zealand, a country of diverse landscapes that take the breath away. Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland in the North Island, is a sailing city and host to this 36th America's Cup. Today it's day 2 of the Prada Cup semi-finals, and yesterday Luna Rossa dispelled any concerns they may have had over performance and stronger wins. Their execution almost flawless on the way to a 2-0 lead. Patriot may be down, but they're not out. A single win today and the campaign remains alive, and in America's Cup history, the fight back is always on. Yes, this is the Prada Cup semi-finals. They've been slated for 2 races a day. The equation is simple. Win 4 and you're in. Lose and you can start the pack up. 1 point is awarded for each race. Today, Luna Rossa enter the showdown, 2 wins to the advantage. They could be breaking out the mum champagne at the end of the day if all goes to plan, but the Americans won't even be considering that scenario. So let's get amongst it with North South's president, Kenny Reid, and double Olympic gold medalist Shirley Robinson. Shirley, Luna Rossa, that's a happy camp.
Stephen, fun scenes at the Luna Rossa dockout, and this from a team that only a week ago were feeling a mounting pressure from a ticking clock and a serious search for form. Yesterday, and with some style, they found it. They're heading out into conditions that could well be in their favour. Heads are up in the Luna Rossa camp. The belief looks to be back.
Well, on the other side, if you've sailed in the America's Cup before, no matter how successful, at some stage you've likely had to leave the dock with that nagging feeling that today might be the day your team's going home. It's only natural. Family and friends can pump you up as much as they can, but in the end, it's up to you. And as the old cliche goes, to just do your job.
And one of those jobs for American Magic, get your starts right.
Well, for sure, these guys have become super predictable. Dean Barker keeps using the same geometry in his pre-start sequence, Shirley, and it's becoming attackable by the Italians.
You do not need a team of sports analysts to work out a foolproof plan to beat Dean Barker in the pre-start. He's making it way too easy for Jimmy Spittle. We have to see a different playbook today.
And on the other hand, the Italians keep throwing a different look at them. If Dean Barker doesn't get it going, they're going to be going home soon.
But the Americans have got to get their boat under control.
They said that there were no gremlins on board yesterday, but boy, oh boy, it didn't look so. It really looked scary at times. It looked a little out of control. I think they're trying to sort out some of their systems. And on the other side, Shirley, they look pretty smooth with Luna Rossa.
The Americans had a wild ride, but just look at this. The boat is on rails, way more stable than we saw even a week ago. A very polished performance from Prada. And hanging off the back of the mainsail, this is Pietro Sibello. He is the main trimmer, and he's crucially really got a prominent role in the comms loop now, getting the big picture out to the decision makers.
Let's tune in from here. Let's do another lap.
Port entry today for Bruni and Spittle.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli should be given high marks for making a series of bold moves leading to 2 heavy air masterpieces yesterday, and kudos to the sailing squad for keeping her mostly on her feet in really tough conditions. But the question remains, by improving so much in the breeze, have they taken away from their light air prowess? One thing was clear on board: Pietro Sabello has taken a much larger tactical role, and communication between the afterguard was hugely improved.
Today, apart from the 2 points we gained, the real win was that the fact we proved that Luna Rossa is fast with the strong winds, and that was quite important. Today, the wind conditions are more likely, are better for us. And I think we know it, but we have to forget what happened yesterday and focus just on sailing, like perfect sailing and elegant sailing on today's race.
Starboard entry today for Hutchinson's Heroes.
For the New York Yacht Club's American Magic team, today the goal is simple. They have to start winning races. If they don't, they're going home. They have a solid group of sailing talent that's brimming with experience, but today the real pressure is on the afterguard. Helmsman, America's Cup winner Dean Barker, and on main Olympic gold medalist Paul Goodison, and skipper Terry Hutchinson. They need to drown out the noise, forget the capsize, hold their nerve, and find a way to do what they're good at.
Well, obviously it's do or die for us today, and we're going to make sure we're on the right side of that, and live to see tomorrow. And if we can do that, then we can do anything.
Regatta director Ian Murray has a daily decision to make. Where will the best breeze in the region be, and which course should be chosen for battle? Today, the wind is having its own battle, hence course A is where they believe there'll be the best chance for good sailing. A light northeasterly has built to 10 knots out there, and a huge crowd is lining the 1.8-mile racetrack. 6 legs around the upwind-downwind course, starting into the wind and finishing downwind at the bottom gate in a lapse time of about 25 minutes is expected.
And so there is the course. What a picture it makes in our virtual eye. Let's get onto the water. Nathan Outeridge, lighter air today. We're going to get a race start today. Nathan, what does it feel like?
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. It's looking beautiful out here. It's really a nice, sunny, warm day. Probably about as good as it can get for these kind of boats. We're out on course A, as Kenny mentioned. It's blowing 10 to 12 knots, and it's going to be really a bit of a boat speed race. There's not a whole lot of land affecting the wind direction at all. It's pretty stable out here, and we were just alongside American Magic about 10 minutes ago. Big afterguard meeting was happening on the back of that boat for over 10 minutes. You can see the focus on that team. They know it's do or die today. And man, it's going to be all about the start for them today. They've got to win this start and give themselves a chance to win the race.
So here we go, race 3 in the Prada Cup semi-finals. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli against American Magic. Left and right on your screen as we see it. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli have port entry. They can enter at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Then at the 2-minute mark, in come American Magic. And all the talk will be about this start because they are under pressure. Paul Goodison said 2-3 days ago, Kenny, that if we get the start right, we don't make any mistakes, it'll be hard for Luna Rossa to get past us. Big call, but they've got to get a start win.
Yeah, Shirley, I think Terry Hutchinson said it best in the press conference yesterday. They got to give the boat a chance. And, we've all been in tough starting situations, and we've all had good starts in our lives, but they've been consistently not great. And it's got to be getting in Dean's head a little bit. I've been there before. I've gotten myself in a slump before. We all have as sailors. How do you break out of it? How does Dean Barker break out of this slump?
Well, there'll be a massive relief about the conditions today, Kenny. It's perfect. 10 to 12 knots. We're not in that. We thought we were going to be in that zone where you were up and down. So, for a start, that kind of helps. You're not going to be worried about the speed of the boat nearly as much, but they need somehow to reset.
Well, I think it's a huge part of the day is also we've been sailing in really shifty conditions. This is the first day that I can really remember in this entire series that the breeze is coming into the Hauraki Gulf fairly unaffected, fairly unencumbered by land. Therefore, it is, like Nathan said, this is more of a boat speed contest today, not as much that shifty tactical situation. We got plenty of crowd, both onshore and out of the water. The amount of boats lining this race course is some kind of spectacular. So good for New Zealanders for coming out and watching the challenges.
The period has been completed, and this race is live.
You're right, though, Kenny. This is a big 4 minutes for this American team. They have to look strong. They have to be aggressive. They have to take control of this pre-start. They cannot start behind the Italian outfit.
And speaking of the Italian outfit, it was encouraging. Nathan, I want you to read on this one. There was always that concern over what they were going to be like in heavier. They were asked at the press conference yesterday about the lighter, and they said, we're good. We're now good across the range, and this plays into their hand. So what a beautiful day it is out there on the Hauraki Gulf, and what a beautiful day it is. And if you want the 1-1 situation to be in it, that is the place to be. 3 minutes and 6 seconds and counting on our virtual eye to the third race in the Prada Cup semi-finals. The Italians with a 2-0 lead. And this does play into the Italians' hand.
Well, the breeze traditionally has, but I think today may be different. That it's not crazy windy. It doesn't bring those flashbacks of their crash and near sinking. This could be exactly the weather situation that the Americans desperately needed to kind of switch things up. And listen, obviously plenty of wind to get up on the foils. Both boats are up and sailing fast. Both look totally prepared. I'm ready for a really good, aggressive race.
It was encouraging too to see Hamilton Dean Barker not fighting with the wheel. Yesterday, if you remember vividly, he was fighting the wheel on American Magic. Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. They have port entry. And they will come in, as you can see them on the left-hand side of your screen, into the very tiny start area, which is proving challenging for all teams, but some get it right. Luna Rossa got it right yesterday. How about American Magic today?
American Magic coming in on starboard a little behind. That means that technically they can be a little more the aggressor here and kind of set up their spot a little better. Let's see that geometry that we were talking about in the start box and see if they're ready to start switching things up. Surely Spithill and company, they immediately go kind of rogue and take off for the outside edge of the box. Kind of interesting strategy.
They're happy to do exactly what they want. I mean, I'm listening intently to the comms on the American boat as well, way more than we've heard before. They're painting the picture of where they are in the box, and as you say, they're now the aggressor. They wait for Italy to make their move and then react.
Onto the water, Nathan, read this one for us.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, well, at this point, neither team's sort of engaging with each other, but this is the critical moment. Luna Rossa coming back on starboard on their time. It's all about if Dean goes past them and pushes or tacks ahead of them.
Dean going early here, and I think they're both pretty early for the starting line right now, Nathan, aren't they?
Try and take off here, boys.
Yeah, it looks a little early, and it looks like Luna Rossa might have just chopped off the port. No, they're up and going again here now. So it's all about if they are on time. If they're a little bit later on time, looking pretty strong here for American Magic. So we'll follow this one in right at the start.
This is lining up well for this American team. They're pushing the Italians over that right-hand ley line to the start.
2-1, up now.
Nice. He's on. You in the line? You in the line?
Yep, snap bearing away, easing.
One all out now.
Full charge here.
Okay, just green. Yeah. Ready to trim, Praga. No lower. One all out now.
Race start in race 3 of the Prada Cup semi-finals, and do we dare say American Magic got a good start and maybe won the start?
Even start. We'll give them an even start, but they're coming up on this boundary situation right now. American Magic will have the right to tack off the boundary. They're going to be in that protection zone. Can Prada lee-bow them, or are they going to have to tack early and get out of there? This is a really big moment. This first cross is a huge moment in this race.
Pressure cabin is then in front. Nice. Pressure cabin. Standing by, Cody.
Trim up now.
Okay, 3, 2,
2, 1, put down.
1, board down,
And turning.
and turn.
Tax. Tax one low. My wheel. Then build.
You would say in this situation, Shirley, advantage to Luna Rossa, but barely. That's a lee bow position, a standard lee bow position. Can American Magic live there across the race course? This is really tense.
Higher, slightly slower at the
So
moment.
it's a difficult slot, isn't it? And we saw actually on the other tack how American Magic managed to move forward on the opposition, but not far enough.
Question here is if he tacks, do you keep to the left of him, rookie?
We are bleeding slightly here.
Yeah, we're probably going to have to go sooner than later.
Andrew Campbell saying we are bleeding slightly. I think it's more than slightly right now. The Italians are really starting to scoot out into that safe position to give American Magic bad air. And there they go.
Okay, he's gone.
Good angle. My wheel.
So you'd have to say, Shirley, first cross to the Italians.
Still going, so we're going to. We know we're sure the next intersection. Tax now.
We have a boat race.
Wow, we have a boat race.
We have a boat race. This is the best we've seen and heard them race together.
Still big right shift.
Yeah. Not unhappy with the pressure we're sailing towards here, but I hear
Let's work it up a little bit here. Okay.
I agree with that, rookie. Probably just with boundary tack.
Nice hit. 20 seconds.
The problem here is the race course has kind of been cut in half right now. American Magic's going to go back. The Prada team can tack on them. If they do an effective tack, they tack on their breeze and keep shoving them back towards the narrow side of the race course.
Pressure is good in front, generally.
Yeah, I think we go go for the crosses because it's a righty.
Yeah, big gain here.
So is the ley line?
Yep.
Copy.
We heard the Italian boat saying, you know, gain to us. And I think part of that looked perhaps like pressure on the right-hand side, but just looking at the boat speed, always just a click faster than the Americans.
Nathan, what can you see?
Guys, it doesn't look like there's much at all between these two boats, boat speed, but just a little right-hand shift on that second time they're on starboard, and that's what's given Luna Rossa that small advantage at the moment, but not many shifts out here, and it's very much a boat speed race. Luna Rossa looking a touch quicker, if you ask me.
Nathan, it was interesting they didn't try to narrow up the race course right there and actually kind of let them breathe, and now we're going to have a split most likely at the top mark.
Clear cross?
No problem with him. So it's just straight us on the mark, Keko.
Copy that, no problem. Yeah. What is going well?
Let's check the wind after the very wave. We need to jibe early for pressure.
Yeah.
That's a good course, Keko. No lower.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli at the top gate for the first time, and they lead American Magic around. Been a very tight first leg of 6, remember. We are a 6-leg race. Race number 3. Yesterday in race number 1, the initial advantage was 17 seconds, but different day today completely. It's a 13-second advantage to Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli as American Magic complete their first leg.
2, 1.
Interesting, they must think they're in a big right-hand shift here, Shirley, because that's a strange place to jibe. You have a split at the top mark and you're the boat behind. You think that continuing there would have at least given them a chance for some leverage. They must think they're in a big shift or big breeze, or maybe just simply keeping it close.
Well, Luna Rossa going upwind made their gain from breeze on the right-hand side. And before the start, I was eavesdropping into the comms of the Italian boat. They liked that right, not all the time, but more than often they could see something there, and they've certainly gone exactly where they wanted to go.
I don't know if you can ever call these boats sane, but it just feels sane today compared to yesterday. Yesterday was, Francesco Bruni said that was the hardest day that they had sailed this boat yesterday. This just feels like people can breathe a little bit today.
As a reminder, if you are joining us for race 3 of this Prada Cup semi-finals, they were running at something like 40-odd knots, plus knots. They got up to 53.3 knots. That was Patriot. the American Magic campaign. It does feel like a bit of a Sunday drive today. And we're doing
this direction.
Gosh,
One
look at
of them
that.
left.
Plenty.
Pressure increasing here.
Surely they're already talking about the geometry at this bottom
Good job,
gate.
Jimmy.
One in
Look.
to the left means probably one jibe and a left-hand turn through this bottom gate.
Yeah.
Pietro Sabello, the Olympic 49er sailor, having a good look around. We saw him do it yesterday, which was a brave move, hanging onto the back of the main. But crucially, they've coached him this week just to be more confident in giving his information, giving his input.
And that has been the big improvement about communication on board Luna Rossa, surely.
I think there's been lots of improvement, but it's been a huge emphasis. Vasco Vascotto, who's a really experienced tactician, is in a real mentoring role in that team, and he's really taken it on board.
Not the best jibe in the world by Luna Rossa. That's going to cost them. This is a one-mistake lead right now. You put this boat in the water once, and that boat's going to come blowing by you from behind.
Oh, what's the plan when I need right?
I think we go straight to left, huh?
Straight left, yeah.
Might be a little gain to the Americans on that mediocre jibe. But one and in, we could be getting another split here at the bottom gate. Let's see if the Americans are more aggressive in their maneuvers today. Yesterday, they just kind of felt like they were holding on. Let's see if they do some more radical maneuvers and look for splits.
Going down in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Done.
Coming up in 5.
Not the best jibe either, Ken. I mean, just watching the speeds on the left-hand side of the screen, you get a real feel of how much you lose if you don't get it right.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli around the bottom gate for the first time. Nice and smooth as they were yesterday. The advantage in the top gate was 13 seconds. They have made a gain on this downwind leg. It's a small game, but a gain nonetheless. And in this particular game, that means everything. 21 seconds now. Make that 22, confirmed.
American Magic straight into that tag. I mean, Kenny, they have to do something, don't they? They can't just follow them around the course.
It certainly makes it more difficult in this much more steady race course. Without the big shifts, shifts very often, Stephen, create almost a passing lane, you know, a narrow passing lane, even on these crazy small courses. But when it's not shifty, it becomes more of a kind of a drag race, a boat speed contest, and that means it gets a little more straightforward for the boat ahead versus the boat behind. So we either need a mistake, you know, we need a mistake. It's that simple. You need the boat ahead to make a mistake. It's harder to make a mistake when it's such steady wind conditions.
Onto the water with Nathan Outteridge. Nathan, what feeling do you have about American Magic at the moment?
Well, they've got a little bit on here to try and get back into this race. What I have noticed is that all the boats that are anchored on the right-hand side of the course have current pushing out. So that right-hand side of the course has a slight advantage for the current, both upwind and downwind, helping them get up the course, making the breeze a bit stronger. And Prada are doing a good job of protecting that side of the course. I think they identified that before the start. And that's what's making it hard for American Magic to get back into the race. I expect attack coming up here pretty soon from Luna Rossa to protect that side.
Much better. My trap, my rake.
Crossing.
So Luna Rossa with that 318-metre lead on Patriot in this third race, this third semi-final of the Prada Cup, and it is a critical race. We know one thing, American Magic need a single win to keep this alive and go into tomorrow's racing. If they don't do it today, it's all over.
Coming up on angle.
Francesco Keko Bruni, as the world calls him, the sailing world calls him.
Very similar
Their
pressure
voices
side to
have
side.
gotten so calm, surely, on board the
He's
boat.
going. Let's keep the foot on the throat, eh? He's tacked.
Copy that. Stand by, guys.
That was the voice of a match racer right there.
That says it all. Jimmy Spittle, let's keep the foot on the throat. There is no coming back here.
Good see hit some lefty on your bow, rookie.
And my Trav. But anything a little softer, boys?
See, we hear a little more of Terry Hutchinson today, whether he has his microphone turned up or not, or had it turned off the other days. It's clearly a lot more chatter from Terry.
Breeze on the track here.
I'd like to see open track in the next 10.
Yeah.
Surely that foot on the throat call by Spithill explain for the non-match racers what he's talking about here. We're not talking literal at this stage, of course.
Not yet, anyway, Kenny. Just matching them tack for tack, not giving them the opportunity to get any kind of leverage to come back into them. And they've done a beautiful job, haven't they, of controlling, picking the side of the course they want, and yet controlling the opposition. I mean, textbook stuff, Steve.
In a different way, this is very similar to yesterday. Yes, softer conditions, as you say, more sane conditions, but you can sort of sense coming off the water that Luna Rossa right now are totally in sync, completely in sync.
Okay, getting speed back now.
It's hard to argue with that. The results are showing, and you know, it was that one nip and tuck off the starting line. It was either going to be a hard race or the stage an easy race, and they got it. They had that extra meter of distance when they needed it.
I think, Kenny, they're slightly faster as well as Italy. I mean, there was a little bit of debate, wasn't there, whether, you know, they would be fast in the light because they were faster yesterday in the breeze, but today certainly a click faster than their opposition.
Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli at the top gate for the third time to complete leg number 3. In the words of Francesco Bruni at the press conference yesterday, they are more consistent, they are more stable, and they are putting that on display again today, but this time in lighter air as they round the top gate and complete leg number 3 of 6 in the Prada Cup semi-finals, race 3.
They're stretching this thing out a little bit right now. Shirley, I think you're spot on there by saying they're certainly not the slower boat, that Italian boat right now. They look quick.
Patriot coming into the top gate for them to complete leg number 3 in this Prada Cup semi-final. Does make a magnificent sight on our virtual eye of the race course and the spectator feed around, and around they go on the downwind leg. Leg number 4. The gap now 41 seconds.
Nice there. Slightly left-hander. Average.
They keep saying this boat is fast, Shirley, but now it's time.
Yeah, have to switch boundary. He's a little bit of
You know, they've been fast downwind. They believe in this boat.
Standing by here, Goody.
See what it can do. It looks boat speeds are pretty similar.
Kenny, everyone is getting quicker. We've seen, I mean, I think the word on the dock is that Luna Rossa is like 10% faster than they were before they went in the shed last weekend. So, you know, everyone is making gains, and for this team, it's been the toughest of 2 weeks, rebuilding their boat after that capsize. No real headspace, I guess, to move the game forward.
There will be one team looking on with a lot of interest, and that is Emirates Team UK, and the improvements, if this works in their favour of that boat, the speed advances that they have made and reliability advances too.
Yeah. Yeah, they bring down more pressure. Might have.
It's amazing that they put Pietro out back there. So for those who are kind of joining into this new America's Cup late, you can't see from one side to the other. So he goes off to the back, holds on to those 2 red handles in the back of the mainsail, so he can get a 360, at least a 270-degree view of the race course and where they think the wind pressure is.
A little bit of table.
There's not a whole lot in it in these 2 boats going downwind. I think the real speed difference, Kenny, between the 2 boats is the upwind speeds, and it's not necessarily boat speed from what I can see on the water. It looks like Luna Rossa are able to sail higher. You know, their VMG is better. The speed might be the same, but they're doing a better angle upwind. And that's where they're making these gains around the racetrack.
A little bit take what he gives us right now, you know?
He's going to go to lay line here.
Showing us just about.
So Terry said, take what he gives us. Now they're talking split, right? They're talking split. They go to one side.
30 seconds.
American Magic's got to go to the other. They need leverage right now. Like Shirley was describing, Spittle wants to keep his foot on the throat, which means he wants to stay in the same water. The old between your man and the hoop context. These guys need a big split on American Magic.
He sets up. He jives. We're 10 seconds from me left.
Going down in 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Squaring up straight in. Right to. It's good pressure. You got Trevor.
Yep.
Straight and left turn. That mark right at the bottom of our screen looks a little further away though.
The least rear throw. 3,
yeah.
2, 1. Coming up.
About to complete leg 4 of 6. Rossa, Prada, Pirelli. Around they go. Just as if they're on rails like a good old slot car set of old. And away they go on the penultimate leg of this third race in the Prada Cup semi-finals. Fans love it. But in comes American Magic 2, and they have cut that lead. They have definitely cut that lead. They have always been known to be strong downwind, and they show us today they are quicker downwind today. 20 seconds down from 41 seconds.
Slightly heading, little press.
Tough maneuver by the Americans at that mark, but they did what we thought they were going to do. They got their big split. That's what they needed to do. And that's a really hard maneuver that they just did, Shirley, that it looked pretty smooth. It looked like they pulled it off, and they got the leverage that they desperately need at this stage.
That was a great move, and they're fast downwind, the Americans. Low, we've seen it before, but just looking at the VMGs on that run, they're solid downwind.
Let's go onto the water, Nathan. They've picked up 21 seconds on that downwind leg. Can they make any more up on this upwind leg?
I will.
Well, they did the right thing there by getting the split. Well, I think we're all hoping they were going to take that other mark and really open up the course. Now they're just hoping that they can get a few shifts go their way and get back into this race. The lead's closing up a little bit from what it was last upwind. And you can hear them on board already saying nice gain. So hopefully they stay in phase here and really put a bit of pressure on Rossa.
Nitro.
Only got 30 seconds in. They're down the other way, so going to have to hold here from below.
Yeah.
That's a little bit phase though, so I guess it's just when we think.
Have a look over your right shoulder and see what you see.
Yeah,
real match race going on here right now. Again, it's just controlling the race course if you're Rossa, but surely I wonder if they have just this little nagging feeling in the back of their mind that maybe the other boat's a little quicker downwind. They have to make some gains here.
Now.
Go a little further.
I think if we hear from Jimmy, it'll be the same comms, foot on get your foot on his throat. They won't want to give him much more than this.
Probably at the top.
G-point is very close.
I think they're just stretching out here on starboard tack as Jimmy just wants to drive a little bit longer.
To go whenever you want.
Stand by, boys. Let's get to this pressure. 3, 2, 1.
Smooth as silk. Again, American Magic needs a mistake right now from that boat ahead. The boat that apparently does not want to make one at this stage.
Word on the dock is that Prada has smaller flaps. Doesn't seem to be harming them today, Eddie.
They've done something. You mentioned 10%. They think they're 10%, and that's a real number. We're not making this up. This is not a round number. They think they're 10% faster than they were a week and a half ago. That is a staggering number.
Flag beyond the top mark.
They have been quite open in saying they have made huge improvements, and we are seeing that right now. They have, it's almost a workman-like performance. You feel like they're just going and doing it by the numbers.
Yeah, I agree. But and so they're smooth. Not only they're smooth on their skates, as you would say in hockey land, but they've improved their windage. The bodies are way down low. Everything, the communication, like Shirley said earlier, everything. It's not ever one particular thing. It's a whole series of issues that you can deal with to make a boat faster. And it seems like they've ticked a few boxes. There's no question about that.
Building here. 1 second.
Okay. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, the challenger of record. A week and a half ago, they were under immense pressure. Yesterday, they showed the sailing world, you know what? We'll respond, and we will respond in a big way. And it was in heavy air, and they literally destroyed American Magic on the water yesterday.
Getting betting on the mud.
That mud feels good.
Nathan, it looks like they're stretching out a bit again here upwind, aren't they?
Yep. Yeah, Luna Rossa are definitely looking class act upwind at the moment. Higher than the other boat, sailing their own race. It looks like they're going to lay this top mark here quite nicely, and they're just going to run away with this one.
Not over.
Approaching the top gate for the final time, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli in control of this third race in the Prada Cup semi-finals. It was 20 seconds at the bottom gate. They had picked up time, and that is American Magic. But what has the upwind leg done?
Yesterday we had 4 laps. Today only 3 laps. Surely time is running out for the Americans, not only on this race, but on their season.
3, 2, 1.
Patriot approaching the top gate for their final time in this third race.
10.
They've lost ground
5,
on the upwind leg,
4,
the penultimate leg.
3, 2, 1.
And around the mark they go, 41 seconds behind. That was the distance they were behind at the end of leg 3, Shirley.
Oh. There's not many options left, is there, Kenny?
Prada jibes to just to kind of keep themselves in the game. You know, at this stage, you almost sometimes, Nathan, you don't mind losing a few meters just to kind of get yourself back in sync with the boat behind, because frankly they're running out of time, aren't they?
Yeah, nice.
Right, base here.
Yeah, Ken, right now looking at it from on the water, Luna Rossa haven't put a foot wrong this whole race. They've positioned themselves strongly against the opponent. They're sailing fast, they're sailing smooth. I haven't really seen American Magic make any errors in this race either. I just think it's one boat's just that little bit quicker than the other, and there's not many wind shifts out here, and this is the result you get. And this is why design teams spend 3 years, 4 years designing these boats and optimizing it and pushing it. The sailors will push it as hard as they can, but right now I don't think there's much more that Dean Barker and his crew can do to get that boat to go any faster.
You are on board American Magic, 540 odd meters behind Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. And when Luna Rossa get to this finish line, they are one step away from joining Ineos Team UK in the Prada Cup final.
Yeah, I think...
good time to go now, eh?
Yeah, I think good time. We're running out the pressure, yeah.
You wonder how much of a really good look he gets there. He jumps up, looks around really quick. I got it. Jumps back in. Quick. And you wonder, is he really seeing the whole race course, or is this just for us right now? I think he's putting on a show for you, Stephen.
Oh, no, I'm listening to my 2 experts beside me, knowing that he is doing a job and finding that winner, the best place to be, Shirley.
Well, Sabello sailed a boat in the Olympics where you stand up all the time. Actually, the boat that Nathan has a gold and silver medal in, the 49er. So he's used to being nimble on his feet. Not worried about him.
Good pressure up there.
It is all so calm with Jimmy Spittle and Luna Rossa and Francesco Bruni. some might suggest today, that's out for a Saturday afternoon spin around the harbour.
All right, boys,
But this
stand by.
is the Prada Cup semi-finals. This is no small chicken race here. This is the big deal before one of these teams makes it into the Prada Cup final against Ineos Team UK. It is done in race number 3 for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Another near flawless performance by Spittle and Bruni on the helm, and they go 3-0 up.
Felt pretty good
and
with
are
that,
a
Jim.
step away from the Prada Cup final, and don't their fans love it in the America's Cup Village?
Drive and go in position, Jimmy.
Yeah, sounds good, mate. All right, boys, let's swing her over.
Match point for the Americans.
Oh, he's moving.
Never thought we'd see this coming, frankly.
And in comes Patriot representing the New York Yacht Club. They have one race left to keep this series alive. And they cross 35 seconds adrift of Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Still one race to go. They've talked about the fight, and the fight is still on.
Slowly dropping in here.
Surely, I think we saw a faster boat versus a slightly slower boat. I mean, you can overanalyze this all you want. Pretty even start. That first cross was huge, obviously, but that happens because one boat's got a tick on the other boat. It just seemed a little bit of a mismatch.
You hear it as well on the comms of Prada. They're confident that they can just put the boat where they want and just edge out. I think we have to remember 2 weeks ago American Magic was sinking, and it's been through a miraculous process to be racing today, but they haven't had that 2 week to move the game forward like the Italians.
That's the big one right there. While they're just trying to get their boat whole, the other boat was getting faster.
Let us confirm race 3 of the Prada Cup semi-finals. Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, an unblemished record. They are now 3-0 and beat American Magic by 35 seconds. So let's go back and take a look at how this race unfolded. And it was a more promising start for Patriot.
Yeah, Barker broke out of his mold a little bit, led back, but surely there's a big gap between these boats. He put his bow down, went down the starting line, and actually that gap between the two boats allowed Luna Rossa to stay there and push them to the boundary and really almost set up the rest of their race.
That is dangerous. If you're going to be the underneath boat, you have to be close to your opposition, or this happens. When you both tack, Prada can squeeze the other boat out.
This was the tack that really kind of did it for them. They tacked conservatively, not even questioning whether that was going to be a foul or not. If you're Prada Luna Rossa, you have to give the other boat the opportunity to tack, but then they just put the pedal down. I mean, literally put the pedal down. It's a tough spot, as we all know as sailors, to be the windward boat, but off they go. 150 meters here, a couple hundred meters there. Before you know it, they're out to a lead where, thank you, Jimmy Spithill, for coming up with the line of the day. Let's just put our foot on their throat, right? I mean, that's all they did. They just kept hammered down and flawless sailing.
But they did come back into the game, the American team. They half the distance on that leg. Fast downwind still.
Good pressure here.
Back upwind into their strength, like Nathan told us, that it was really not very shifty at all out there. Really nice maneuver by this team at the leeward mark in order to try to gain a split and get back out of there. But you know what? Luna Rossa was all over it. You couldn't really fake them out. There was nothing that the American Magic could do but hope they made a mistake, and surely they didn't make a mistake.
No, they didn't. I mean, the Italian team sailed a really class race. They went where they wanted, they controlled the opposition, and they sailed fast.
Nice lads.
So for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, they can smell the Prada Cup final. On board Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, Francesco Bruni is standing by to give us his thoughts. That's 3-0 now, Francesco. It's almost as if this team of yours is oozing confidence, and it looks so good out there.
Yeah, well, I'm very proud with the team. We are sailing well. It's all going well, but we have to keep the concentration up, because I know that the Americans are a very strong team, and they will be back. So concentration up, think race by race, don't give anything for granted.
Gecko, you look like you have a little bit of pace upwind. Is it fair to say? Does it feel like that from on board the boat right now?
What I think is that we have a little bit of the high mode. We know that our foils are a little bit bigger, so we can play that high mode strategically in some moments of the race, and we did it. On that port, I think was a key, that second segment after touching the first boundary, and we had it planned, so it was all good. I think downwind, maybe they have an edge, but it was very tricky because I think there was less pressure at the bottom of the course and more pressure at the top. So that's why the feeling is that the boat is leading upwind, is stretching, and vice versa, I think. You guys can tell me better, maybe.
Francesco, Stephen just said on the broadcast that Luna Rossa can smell the Prada Cup final. Just how pumped are the team to finish this off?
No, we are not smelling anything. No, you don't get me on that one. No smell, no smell.
Worth a try.
Thought you had him, didn't you?
All right, Francesco, thanks so much. One more race to go. You could be there. Then maybe we can talk about smelling something nice.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.
Let's now head across to Patriot. Terry Hutchinson ready for a chat. Look good out there today. Terry, just that boat, Luna Rossa, look a little bit quicker today?
Well, I think the right side of the course was strong, and as Kiko just said, you know, we were going pretty well to leeward of them off the line, but you know, their timing was very good for that weather end start, and really we had to take Plan B. And you know, you knew at the start that Plan B was Plan B for a reason, and you know, once they got rid of us on the port, the right side of the track was favored, and they extended nicely into the shift, and from there, you know, you're basically picking up the scraps. You know, I think we did a very good job of keeping the race close as we could. Obviously, their boat is going well, and I think Patriot was going well. So, you know, it's a lot of little subtleties in it. But, you know, really the defining moment was Plan A. It was a strong right-hand call, and when your opponent does his timing right, then there's really not a lot you're going to do with it.
So, Terry, I know it sounds easy from hard from where you are. We've seen a couple team meetings in the back of the boat pre-race. How do you get Plan A? It's that simple. How do you get Plan A off the starting line? Because in this condition, yeah, you obviously need it.
Yeah. If their timing's right, you don't.
Well, you're leading in this, but
of it.
you got the opportunity this time to do that same lead, right? That lead back.
Yep. And you know, so we'll see how we handle it and how we take care of it. But you know, that's the harsh reality of knowing exactly what's going to happen. Is that, you know, you basically have to from there do the best job you can at keeping it close. And it wouldn't have taken much for our leeward side position there to work. But you know, we had to give up, you know, almost 8 degrees of line bias. That just makes it tough.
Terry, thanks for your time. Another reset coming up. We'll look forward to talking to you afterwards.
Yep, thank you.
Very pragmatic. Terry Hutchinson, the skipper of Patriot. Beautiful vista of Auckland City. And let's crunch the numbers, team.
Upwind speed to the Italians. Downwind speed fairly close. Slight edge to the Americans. Maximum speed, it's kind of something pretty at this stage. It's really very close race. Distance sailed is probably one of the bigger numbers that we see the difference there, Shirley. Very close race on the water, very close race by the numbers.
Really close. Now, I think the numbers just back up what we're saying. The Italians slight click upwind. They seem very comfortable at wind. much more even on the downwind pace.
Let's take a look at the efficiency analysis, and particularly that first leg going up into that cross too.
Yeah, Italians are the green number, blue number is the Americans. This is the boat speed on the left-hand side, and your time and the distance on the bottom. So as we go across, you really see very little in it, Shirley, don't you? No major errors here, no major dramas.
Both teams sailing well. I mean, very smooth today.
And the key moment has to be that first cross.
Yeah, off the starting line. Listen, as soon as there was a gap between the two boats, American Magic to leeward, the bottom side of our track, and then they get the ability to tack at the boundary. They have that right to. And Luna Rossa tacked in really a very comfortable place out there. I think they had a high mode. In talking with Keko, they got a high mode here, and they're about to just put the pedal down and brush off American Magic.
If you're that boat on the right-hand side, you can do what you want. You can pull the bow down, you can accelerate for speed, or you can come up and squeeze the opposition.
There they go.
So controlling.
Elevator up right there. Left-hand turn, brush your competitor away. Really nice to have in match racing.
We are bleeding slightly here.
Yeah, we're probably going to have to go sooner than later.
In any sport we play, it's crucial to know the rules of the game. A critical racing rule is when the boats are going in the same direction, but they're not overlapped. In this case, the boat behind, the yellow boat, has to keep clear of blue. However, being in front doesn't always mean you're in control. If the yellow boat gets its bow across the stern of the blue boat, it has the right of way. We call it an overlap. When this happens, yellow has all the power and blue has to get out of the way.
Look at that spectator fleet on the Hauraki Gulf, the Waitemata Harbour, the Sky Tower, an iconic figure of Auckland City in the background. It's time to go onto the water amongst all that, but probably in a more privileged position on Chase Boat 1, which is Nathan Outeridge. And Nathan, Patriot have one last throw of the dice. How do we think they can get back into this, or can they not?
Well, Stephen, we've been right beside American Magic ever since they finished the race, and as soon as Terry Hutchinson finished that interview with you guys, he went straight to the back of the huddle with Dean Barker, Paul Goodison, Andrew Campbell's there with him as well, and they're chatting about tactics, chatting about what they need to do to win this race. And it was good to see them start with an even start in that one, but they need to do more than that. They need to take control of the race from the get-go, and Plan B is just not going to cut it for them if they want to win this race. They're going to have to get aggressive in this pre-start. I think they're going to have to get Luna Rossa off the foils and try and start the race with a decent advantage and really put the pressure on Luna Rossa. To date, Luna Rossa haven't had any pressure in these semi-finals at all. And so, you know, it's a match racing game, and they need to get really aggressive if they want to take this to another day.
Guys, we call it an even start there, but as we all know, and Shirley, we talked about it a little bit, it wasn't an even start. You would take Luna Rossa's position off that starting line every single time. And I was actually kind of surprised that Terry said we didn't get to Plan A. They need Plan A. Get to Plan A in the starting line. You got to do it, guys. This is it. This is it.
I mean, Nathan, they have such a lot of talent in that afterguard. It's just not quite executing it. I mean, what's going on?
There's no shortage of talent at all on that boat. I think that the real issue they've got is the other team's doing a very good job. And when you're up against an opponent that's doing a really good job, it makes your life difficult to put the boat into Plan A. This time round, you know, they're going to have the port entry. They get to choose their time back. They get to find Plan A, and Luna Rossa have to respond.
You are looking at American Magic, and have you ever wondered what the secret to sporting success is? Well, hard work and dedication definitely play a part, but So does failure. Just ask American Magic's Paul Goodison. We spoke to the Olympic gold medalist and 3-time moth world champion before the series began, and he reckons failure at the Athens Olympics and subsequent thoughts of quitting helped define and refine his competitive spirit.
Sailing, what does it mean to you?
Well, that's a big question to start with. I think sailing for me is all about escapism. It's going on the water, just being at one with nature and messing around in the water. My dad was really into it, and Mum and Dad sailed. I think Mum was still sailing when she was 6 months pregnant, with me hanging out on a trapeze in a cherub. So I guess I was kind of born into it. I think one of the real defining moments, I guess, was when Ben Ainsley came back from the Atlanta Games with a silver medal. Like, I'd always seen these guys on the TV winning medals, and for once Ben came home with this medal, and actually you can see somebody and you know them and you make the connection. Actually, this is a lot more possible than just a dream. And I think at that stage it became very real in my eyesight that was it. I wanted to do this, and I was really driven by that moment. Sydney was probably the most fun because I wasn't competing and there was no pressure on, and I was there with a bunch of really good friends I'd grown up with. And then going through Athens was terrible. All the preparation had gone really well. I think I medalled at every regatta in the lead up to the Athens Olympics, but then came short and finished fourth. I walked away thinking I didn't want to do this again. You've just invested 4 years of your life and just come short. So it took me a little time to, I guess, reflect and come to terms with myself of what I wanted to do with my life. And I just thought if I never tried again, it would always be that thought in my mind, what if I'd have just tried this? What if I'd have just done that? And I didn't want that to be hanging over for me for the rest of my life. So the lessons learned from Athens definitely have helped me along the rest of my career, especially coming along to the America's Cup. You're here with over 100 guys. You have a great design team, and then an engineering team, and then a shore team, and then a sailing team. Like this, it's so intricate, and how it's all comes together. So it really excites me. I love the America's Cup. I think growing up as a youngster, it felt very far away, just like the Olympics did, I guess, at first. It's the only opportunity you get to sail the coolest and fastest boats in the world, and I think that strikes a chord with everybody. The biggest thing I bring to the team is feel, and trying to feel how to make the boat go fast. Being in a laser where all the boats are identical, they're all the same, and it's just you against the other guys, you have to have a good feel for how to make the boat go fast. These boats are super impressive. I think the sheer power that they have and the speeds, I think, going upwind is almost what's the most impressive, the amount of righting moment and power these boats have. I'm so glad that I opened my eyes and changed the path around. It's so cool to be involved, and I'm so grateful to be involved. Well, hopefully it's going to end with us holding the cup and taking it back to the New York Yacht Club. We still have a lot of work to do before then, and we're all working very hard to get it there.
It makes a beautiful sight, a Saturday afternoon on the Hauraki Gulf and the Waitemata Harbour. It's Prada Cup semi-finals day, and race 4 is not too far away, and Luna Rossa are in the prime position. They basically have match point on this series and could go on to face Emirates Team UK. And when you think about Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, they're so far away from home, like 20,000 kilometres away. They're representing the Socorro della Valle Sicilia club as the challenger of record. And, you know, one of their helmsmen is that guy there, Jimmy Spittle. He's an Aussie amongst all these Italians. He grew up surrounded by water in a small Australian town called Pittwater, north of Sydney. There was no road leading to his home. It was accessible by boat only. And at the age of 30, he became the youngest skipper to win the America's Cup. And now, as you see, he's sailing for the Italians.
They're coming up for spin.
Hold down.
You know, we hear Jimmy Spittle talking a lot of English. Do you think he knows any Italian?
I don't think he knows a word of Italian.
I've just taken to the language really quickly. There'll probably be a few times in this interview where I may just go into Italian, so I apologise for that. I'll try not to do it.
Stand by turning up. Two boards.
It's always been an addiction. It's been a bit of a dream, the America's Cup, and well, coming on to 20 years now. It's just been a great ride and it continues. I've always had a lot of respect for Patrizio Bertelli and the team. You know, he and his family are very, very passionate about this game. They don't give up, you know, they like competing, and I really like those attributes.
The first race of the America's Cup goes to Emirates Team New Zealand. Emirates Team New Zealand goes up 2-0. Emirates Team New Zealand.
Emirates Team New Zealand, the Kiwis now just one win away from the America's Cup.
I think the question is, imagine if these guys lost from here. That'd be one hell of a comeback. And that's the kind of thing that I'd like to be a part of.
Oracle Team USA gets the win. Oracle Team USA, Oracle Team USA. The comeback of 2013 is complete. America's Cup will stay in America.
For every single person out there, whether you're on the winning or losing team, it meant a lot. You know, I mean, this is a big chunk of your life. Every single person involved in the America's Cup, that's what makes it so special, is you really care about it. So I wasn't surprised at all to see emotion on both sides of it. Like any great sporting team or great sporting battle, you know, that's what you live for.
There will be no fairy tale comeback this time around. Jimmy Spithill has lost his magic wand.
Well, I think Bermuda, ultimately looking back, to summarise quickly, too conservative overall in our approach to the campaign.
The New Zealanders peddling into the history books.
Myself, I'd say, didn't go with my instincts enough on and off the water.
That sport for you, it's tough. It's very, very tough when you're in the corner that Jimmy Spithill is currently occupying.
Any defeat or hiding that you cop, there's no better motivation. It's a great opportunity to have a lot of growth. Definitely stronger since the last one, and you know, as hungry as ever.
I think he needs to practice a bit more Italian.
The Australian doesn't know a lick of Italian.
I have picked up a few words, but most of them I can't really repeat on the camera.
Jimmy Spithill on the stern of Luna Rossa, pondering what to do in the next race. Race number 4 of the Prada Cup semi-finals. They are one race win away from the Prada Cup final against Ineos Team UK as we look at that volcanic island, the youngest of all, Rangitoto, that rises 260 metres out and over the Hauraki Gulf. It's the, believe it or not, the youngest of some 50 volcanic cones around Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. And it has been a sparkling day, and none more so than those folks enjoying the sparkling waters on Thorns Beach of the Hauraki Gulf and the Waitemata Harbour. And there'll be plenty of sparkles today too if Luna Rossa bag race number 4. The AC-75 is a new breed of boat. We know that. It's powered by a new breed of sailor. The physical demands of winding on the handles puts grinders in the same league as world-class endurance athletes. You might think it's a young man's game, but at 45, American Magic's Jim Turner is proof there's still a place for grey hairs.
It's going to spray all over you, that is. It absorbs me to the point, you know, that until I get it won, I'm not going to stop being involved. Basically, if I'm not working, you know, if I'm not in my America's Cup job, I'm in my Opti Dad job. Shall I put the sail in? My children play this game, would you rather? It's like, would you rather win the America's Cup or would you rather something else? And it's always, yeah, win the America's Cup, thanks. What you always got to do is be careful with your main sheet. You want to coil it up, right? My children are just getting into it and having a passion, and it fully winds the clock back to when I was 11, 12 years old and running down the sailing club after school to ring my boat and go out just for an hour or two. And it's a very simple life if you strip it back in the age of you know, iPhones, iPad, you know, all the devices and things. It's great to see them, you know, out there and enjoying themselves.
What would happen if I had too much on? Would that be too overpowering?
I don't think you can have too much on. You see, like at the end. I love that she loves it. You know, it's not something the parents can force. You can't go, you must do this and you must like this because I love it.
You can't do anything without there being rules and regulations, where with sailing you can literally push your boat in and off you go, and no one's telling you when to turn left, turn right, how fast to go, when to slow down. It's all you.
You know, this is where your next, well, New Zealand-wise, next Peter Burling's going to come from, and this is where they learn their craft.
It's easy for parents to live vicariously through their children. You know, they want to push them super hard, and to have success in sailing, you don't need to be the world's best optimist sailor. You just need to develop, at this age, a lifelong passion for the sport.
How was it? Was it good?
It was very good.
Yeah, what did you learn?
Well, I like the waves, and I learned how to sort of cut through the waves and get on a wave.
Were you doing sailing and bailing? Yeah. Nice. It's really cool that she's followed me around the world, watching me at the Olympics, watching me at various other sailing events, and she's obviously got the bug, and she loves it, and just seeing her loving it is, you know, it's a huge reward, yeah. Are you going to race this afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay. You got to finish, give me a high five. Nice, well mate.
When I was 15 years old, if you told me that I was going to get paid to go race sailing boats for 20 odd years, you'll get to win all these world championships and go to the Olympics and race and all these cool things, travel the world, I'd have, you know, I still pinch myself now that I can still do it. It's fantastic, and it's amazing how quickly you become the older guy. You know, you're the nipper and then you're the granddad. It goes quickly. What keeps me coming back? Well, I haven't won yet, and until I do, I'll still be knocking on the door, I think, but hopefully this is the one.
In any sport we play, it's crucial to know the rules of the game. A classic match racing move is the tack and pin. One boat crosses the bow of their opponent and then immediately tacks on top of them. In this case, yellow has done so, and if blue doesn't react immediately, they become trapped, unable to maneuver until their opponent does so first. Done properly, you have complete control of the race course and dictate your opponent's next move.
So here we are on American Magic. All the pressure is now on them. Quite simply, they have to win race number 4. Otherwise, the journey is over.
There's really not much to say here for this team. This is it. This is make or break. It's time to go home. There's so many cliches that you could just roll through right now. Terry Hutchison said it. Get plan A off the starting line. That's what they need to do. Start the race well, get plan A off the start.
And then there is Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli on the cusp of facing the British in the Prada Cup final.
Stephen, they're a long-time challenger, this Italian team. They have a long history in the America's Cup, and going home at the first step just isn't really an option for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. They've had their critics here, but they're riding the confidence of these last 3 races. They've looked in control, they've looked quick, they look smooth, but more than all of that, we've just heard something that I don't think we've really heard before. We heard Jimmy Spittle get ruthless. He's known for it, it's why he's on that boat, and with a 3-race lead, 1 more win, and they'll be in the Prada Cup final.
4 minutes and 42 seconds and counting to race 4, and two different stories about to unfold in race number 4 of the Prada Cup semi-finals. On the left, American Magic. On the right, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. American Magic, is their campaign about to end here? Is Luna Rossa about to make it 4-0 and go to the Prada Cup final? Each has their fans in the village and around the viaduct and ready to go. A big spectator fleet and plenty of folks watching on the big screens around the viaduct harbour. The tension is palpable here in the commentary position, I can tell you. Out on the water, Nathan Outteridge, call it. Make a call, buddy. What happens?
Well, Stephen, there's plenty of breeze out here now. The breeze is filled in from the top of the course right down. We've got a good 15 knots across the whole course. And as you can hear there, the race is live. We're going to be going to battle here very soon. American Magic just doing a little bit of a tune-up here before the start. They have to win this start. If they win the start and not just have an even start like we said before, they've got to dominate the start, put the pressure on Jimmy Spittle and Luna Rossa, and let's push this into another day. That's what we all want to see. We want to see some fight out of these guys, and we want to see a race win for American Magic.
Nathan says time to go to battle. He wants to see American Magic do something to start. Take it to Luna Rossa. Do we get that in race 4, Kenny?
I have to disagree with my friend Nathan. I don't think they need to win the start. I think they need to get a start where they're in the position that they want to be. If they think the right side of the race course is better, then get to the right side of the race course. Start up on your opponent's hip, start to the right of them, and get to the right of the race course. Let's not force the team into something that they may not be comfortable with. Let's just kind of have at it and hope that our boat has a little more boat speed in this increasing breeze on the Hauraki Gulf.
I'm with Kenny. I mean, don't sail the way that you don't normally sail. You just need better execution on the start line. Go where you want to go. With 5 more knots in this race, Stephen, so a different game.
Patriot will come in on the left-hand side, as you can see her coming in now on the port entry. She has port entry and can enter at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. On the right-hand side, the starboard end, it'll be Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli. And Luna Rossa team that are... And you talked executions, Shirley. They haven't put a foot wrong pretty much in the last 48 hours.
And particularly in the starting area. I mean, the Prada starts throughout this series have been excellent. I mean, they have nailed it. Perfect execution, great timing.
Francesco Brudi says that the starts all come down to pre-planning. They don't go outside that window. They know exactly what they are going to do.
Well, let's see the geometry. Let's see these moves by Dean Barker again. Is he going to be predictable, or is he going to throw a little wrench into the situation? This is where we find out.
He's turned up early, Kenny. He didn't go to the boundary. He's trying something new.
1 minute and 25 seconds are going to race start and race 4. Nathan, I want you to read on what you've seen so far in this pre-start.
Turning down here up 3, 2.
The action's all about to begin right now. It's this turnaround time that's critical. American Magic coming away into a barrier. Jimmy Spittle, Francesco Bruni chasing him and pushing him hard. They're really going to put the pressure on American Magic in this one.
Fine. That's a full jump.
I'm feeling 70 and turning it up here. Racing up 1.
Okay, when you want.
Okay, coming up.
A lot of time, Stephen. Look at the clock. Still 53 seconds.
Coming up. Full speed.
Yeah, copy.
You wonder if they're late, though. That was a really tricky maneuver by American Magic. Put themselves in maybe another vulnerable spot, but 40 seconds to go. They may be a touch early. There may be a gap in there, but they're certainly not front-footing it, I'll tell you that.
Press hard here. Both sides are late.
30 seconds and counting to start of race 4 in the Prada Cup semi-finals.
Dean Barker going for the hook.
Skipping the gas.
I think he's going to run out of time, Stephen. I think he's going to run out of time. I do not think that Prada is early for this starting line.
Got full speed.
Full speed, copy. Full speed.
Standing by.
A little ease.
Anytime. 2,
Go.
1, we're down.
Go.
And turning.
It's on. Race 4 of the Prada Cup semi-finals. For Luna Rossa, 1 win. You're in the Prada Cup final. For American Magic, 1 win, and your campaign survives another day.
So we are at 50, 19, 50.
Maybe hold for now.
I feel terrible for.
Just wait for this pressure to see if
Sometimes
we
you
get
just
left
lose
heel or from the
your confidence, and that's what it feels like to me. That the afterguard of American Magic in that pre-start box, it just lost their confidence. I've been there before, by the way. I've been the person who has lost their confidence. It's no fun. It's not a fun place to be. Let's see if they can dig it out and find a little bit of boat speed.
Okay, better up.
Okay, he's tagged. I've got us 2 lengths ahead at the moment.
Generally more pressure.
Far behind. They need pace, Shirley. They need pace at this stage.
Well, they got to that right-hand side. Crews really like that. A little bit more pressure there. Maybe a bit of courage as well, helping them along.
Nice mode here.
3, 2, 1, more down.
Keeping it close.
And turn.
30 seconds the other way.
Yeah, we can get out of here straight away. Standing by. Cross in.
Dean Barker, no real option there, Kenny. You hear him straight into the tag. I mean, beautiful execution by the Italian team. Tagged right on them.
So Nathan, obviously Spithill and company don't mind the left-hand side of the race course there, do they?
No, they're actually protecting the left this side as compared to last race was the right. The breeze is filled across the whole course, so it's a pretty even track. I think they're just trying to hurt them where they can. But guys, I just can't get over that start. I hate harping on about it, but it was an easy win for Luna Rossa off that start, and now American Magic have a lot to do to get this race win.
Nathan, do you think it just seemed like their timing was out? And you look at the Italians, their timing and their geometry is always bang on. Is it something to do with software? They're just not as confident?
Yeah, it's the same distance.
Yeah, Shirley, you're probably right there. These guys, to judge that by eye is so difficult, particularly with the maneuver. Everyone's relying on software to get that turn back at the right time, and if their software is not calibrated perfectly or they're not interpreting it the right way, you end up being early or late very easily. So, you know, maybe that's what Luna Rossa has also done in the last week or two, is gone out and do a bunch of start practice and get their pre-starts and their software dialed to perfection. I know racing with Artemis in the last America's Cup, we spent a lot of time on race software, and race software makes sailors look really smart. If it works for you, you look like a hero, but if it's not quite accurate enough, it can make you look really silly.
Let's get on board Patriot and hear what's going through their minds.
25 to lane. That's good there. 15. Standing by. Crossing. Anytime. 2. 1 board down. But board's not going here. Board won't go down. On Grey Hill. No, Grey Hill's not working either.
Sounds like there's trouble on American Magic. You heard Dean Barker say the board won't go down. Surely not.
Hang on, board's going now slowly.
Keep the speed up, please. Keep the speed up.
Yeah, copy.
Gracious.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli around the top gate for the first time in the 6th leg, but it is trouble for American Magic. Board down issues in a race they have to win.
2, 1 coming down. Take my wheel. Yeah, copy. You can see what we've got to do here. Yeah, crossing.
If they didn't have bad luck, they'd have no luck at all right now, unfortunately, Shirley.
Turning up here in 3, 2, 1, turning it up now.
Good angle, no higher.
American Magic get around the top gate after trouble with board. And the lead is 45 seconds to Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli.
Kenny, that's so disappointing, but not really a surprise when we think what this really complex machine has been through over the last 2 weeks.
35 to boundary.
Unfortunately, it's easy to be speechless at this stage. It's just a shame. All you want is you want a competitive race, right? That's all you can. That's all you can hope for for all sides. We have friends on all teams. I know everybody back home is hurting right now watching this, and frankly, they kind of need a miracle right now to get back into this race.
The board's not going now. Yeah, we haven't got a board here, guys. This could be a bit ugly here. Can't get the board's not going again. Just got to drop it. You're going to have to just drop it in here.
Okay. Trying with the grey hill on my spot now. Get movement.
This is the umpire's boundary penalty, USA.
Board up, board down again.
Yeah, it's just gone down. Just jibing here.
Yep.
You got it. You got it.
The other way.
I will.
Racing tragedy for American Magic in a race that they had to win. Board issues as they headed towards the top gate. Board issues as they get around the top gate and down on that first downward leg. And
okay, slowly trimming on now.
You can imagine hearts sinking amongst supporters that are watching in the Viaduct Harbour and around the world. Just when they needed some sort of luck, the gremlins strike. Those dastardly gremlins.
You got to feel so bad for that guy. Honestly.
Nice there.
Nobody deserves this, but like Shirley said, the boat was underwater 9 days ago. Underwater. So it can't be a complete shock that we're seeing a situation like this where some of the mechanics don't work. You can't perform miracles. You can't perform miracles.
As you can see on the bottom left of your screen, the lead that Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli has right now is strong.
Stand by, trimming up in 3, coming up in 3.
They will complete the second leg
okay, guys.
and head up on leg number 3 of 6 in this 4th race of the Prada Cup semi-finals.
Nice.
Nathan Outridge out on the water. Can you believe what we have just seen?
Oh, guys, it's just heartbreaking. Just watching it and listening to the comms off the boat. They're doing such a good job to keep it composed and together. But you know, the board didn't drop on the upwind in that tack. It didn't drop in that jibe. They're about to do another jibe here right now. Let's hope the board goes down for their sake.
Board going down in 5, 2, 1. Here we go.
Yeah, no action.
Okay. Nah, there you go. You heard it. It's not getting any better. The situation's getting bad to worse. And what a terrible way to end the America's Cup challenge here.
Here it goes now. No, what's it doing?
That was me. Go board up and try again.
This is the umpire's USA boundary penalty.
That's board up.
Yeah.
That's the that goes down first. Board going down in 3, 2, 1. Board down now. Yeah, it's gone this time.
It's just shocking.
Okay, turn in. Yep.
Such a shame. I feel so bad for all the supporters, the members of the club, the fans back in the States, fans around the world. Nobody deserves this.
Penalty clear.
I don't have official rookie, so...
Yep, still 110, 100.
They're coming down more.
You got normal bear away here in 3, 2, 1. You'll see the marks. You see left turn.
Yeah, copy that.
Patriot advancing towards the bottom gate for the first time. Major technical problems with their boards.
4, 3, 2, 1. Turn it up now.
And as you would expect, the time difference right now makes no difference. 2 minutes and 1 second behind Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. It's now just a matter of time. How hard is it to be a fan right now? How hard is it to be on that boat and remain composed? And for all the families sitting back at the base in the Wynyard Quarter.
That's coming back up.
How tough is this?
Board down here in 3, 2, 1. Board down. Yeah, so it's gone. And turning.
They're just guessing whether these boards are going to go up or down right now. They're just guessing. And I know all the work that's gone into it. I know the people have done all the work. I've been sailing with them for years. the best in the business, but I've also had an electrical engineer tell me what they tried to do over 10 days may be actually impossible. You can't do that. So, boy, oh boy.
But 24 hours ago, we were celebrating them being back on the water, yes, beaten up.
But this could be a tiny connection. This could be one electrical connection that's just misfiring, the tiniest little thing. And I'm not blaming it on the electrician. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming it on anybody. I'm just saying there's so many moving parts in these boats. It's just one tiny thing misfiring that creates, well, a disaster.
I think there's something like 17,000 components go into this really complex machine. And we saw pre-Christmas as well. I mean, even then, loads of teething problems. It's so hard to watch, though, Kenny.
I still have normal can control on the port side, so...
Still talking it through.
Done.
We'll try a different drop mode just in case it's something to do with the drop mode number.
Yep. Yeah, try going back to 11.
Yeah, where we can. Okay, I'm going forward now.
All the time the Italians are rolling away. Listen, Jimmy Spittle's been in the American Magic spot. In 2000, when I was here competing against him, he was with Sid Fisher's Young Australia, and they weren't far from the drama of what American Magic's going through right now. Struggled around the race course, but you know what? You've got to deal with the hand that you're given, and right now these guys have been given a pretty nice hand.
Luna Rossa approaching the top gate to complete leg number 3, and they are halfway towards that spot in the Prada Cup final against Emirates Team UK. They haven't done too much wrong in 48 hours. They had one little skid yesterday, Shirley, on that bottom gate rounding, but that was pretty much it.
They haven't been pushed a great deal, Stephen, so I think we have to say that. But just even the way they're sailing the boat, they're executing the start. They've stepped the game up in this week, no doubt.
3, 2, 1. You got him, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Penalty clear.
Yeah, so you can always drive back.
You heard the voice of Richard Slater. There was obviously another boundary penalty you can see on your right-hand screen. Patriot coming in way outside the boundary, but it'll be quite a simple decision because of the distance involved now to get rid of that penalty very quickly and just let them race their race. And look at this, even knowing the way it is, just get that feeling. There's a reminder from Jimmy Spittle that they are going to be a force in this Prada Cup final. I'm a great believer of what we're seeing. Yes, they hadn't been pushed, and it could be a stunning Prada Cup final. Unless something really, really bad happens right now. And we go to tomorrow.
Seconds to see if...
They're still struggling. They're going outside the race course. Left and right now, just trying to get this thing to work.
Down here in 3, 2, 1. We're down, nothing happening.
Nothing happening.
Try board up again here. Board down now. Still no action. Now it's going down this time. So it'll come up and then I'll be able to fire it. 2, 1, board down. Okay, turning.
We could take this conversation right back to the World Series pre-Christmas, couldn't we? And this boat that we're seeing right now, Patriot, was being talked up as one of the favourites. It was a boat that defeated Emirates Team New Zealand in a race. I think it was about 12 seconds. And we're going, okay, New York Yacht Club back in the game. It is game on. And then the rest, I hate being cliched, is history as to what unfolded.
Yeah, the only boat to beat the Kiwis. I mean, they looked so promising. Remember, they were the first boat to arrive in Auckland. Lots of time on the water. They felt really solid in their preparation. But this game, Stephen, it moves on at such a rapid pace. And that capsize, you know, it's only now we're seeing the real fallout from that.
What we are seeing too as part of the America's Cup is how unforgiving it is to try and win the America's Cup. If you're not on your game, or the forces work against you.
Oh, the game is ruthless. Let's put it that way. We always talk about the money spent. The money spent is to try to create the fastest boat that's ever taken the water. This is it's just it's a ruthless game.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli complete leg 4 of 6 in race 4 of the Prada Cup semi-final. 2 more legs to go, and they have Ineos Team UK in their sights.
Okay, that's angle.
So left base at 35.
Plenty of breeze here, so
it's an elegant do it on the package, isn't it? I mean, I think Stephen keeps calling it smooth in your very nautical terms. The boat is smooth. I'm not sure I would use smooth, but
well,
it's elegant.
You know what?
There's no question.
Well, they wanted to elegantly sail today, didn't they? But when you look at this boat, it's smooth, it's stylish, it's Italian, and one of the only boats, or the only boat that didn't actually make too many radical changes from the exterior when we went to boat 2.
Coming down.
They must have felt right from the get-go, we got the right boat here.
But they have made gains in every department.
10% of speed gains.
I'm not sure that's science. That's just word on the dock here in Auckland. But they're happy. You can sense it. They're a new team with momentum, and you can feel that when you speak to them now.
Happy to come up.
It's not only about arriving here with a fast boat, Stephen. You have to have the resources and the smarts around you that you can create a faster boat with every given day.
And part of the discussion has been with this America's Cup and the COVID-19 world that we have lived in. All teams lost 2 World Series regattas to develop their boats. So we've seen boats develop at a furious pace in a very short time.
But the history, I think the history books are going to show that while American Magic was literally trying to get their boat to float again and piece it back together, the other team got 10% faster. You know, you can only do so much. And I know it's easy to put on a brave face through that whole capsize. Hasn't been the same boat since. Forget the foils here for a second. It hasn't been the same boat or team since, and you can only do so much. The other team hit it out of the park at the time where you were most vulnerable, and guess what? That's sport. That's sport.
System turning up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Turn it up now.
American Magic around the gate, big leg number 4.
Ready, 23, going to try the board now. No, going to go this time. One more of those. Okay, going to try and fire the board here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down. And turning.
Stephen, Terry Hutchinson said at the press conference there was nothing wrong with the boat, but we all saw Dean Barker wrestle that boat round the course the whole day. And today, massive struggle.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli on the 5th leg of 6. This is the penultimate leg.
Slowly gaining on it. Yeah, we just do a little build for the tack here.
It is a beautiful boat, Kenny. It is a beautiful looking boat when you see these magnificent pictures coming off our helicopters, our chase boat, even that bow camera. How cool does that look? Yeah, I'm getting a little bit excited. I like pretty things, right? But
fast is usually pretty, you know.
When we talk about shifts in performance, we've spoken about the shift in performance from Christmas to a week ago with Ineos Team UK. How big a shift has the performance of this team, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli, been in the scope of this America's Cup?
Not quite Ineos-esque, I don't think. That was miracle type stuff, but it's been pretty darn impressive.
A little bit lighter actually for this middleweight.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli approaching the gates for the last time, and one more downwind leg and head towards the finish, and then celebrate the fact that they, barring catastrophe, will be in the Prada Cup final.
I can guarantee you that that whole team have they feel for these guys as much or more than anybody does. I don't care how big a competitor you are. You can't be a sportsman and not feel for what this team is going through right now. It's sad.
This is the umpire's boundary penalty, USA.
Go Mars, go Mars.
We wished for the fairy tale. They wished for the fairy tale, but the reality of it is it was a lot to ask for.
And so in the foreground, you see a stranded American Magic. And then in the background, Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli flying high on her foils and heading towards the finish in race 4 of the Prada Cup semi-finals. And a guaranteed spot, that final spot in the Prada Cup finals.
It's better.
Stephen, I think they haven't just gained boat pace. That just the whole team has made a massive leap forward. And to me, Jimmy Spittle has now arrived in Auckland. The Jimmy Spittle that we're used to seeing.
Very solid
the confidence as well with Francesco Bruni. It's a different. The whole of the team feels different to before.
And understandably, then this confidence just washes across the whole organisation, the family, and suddenly sailors are going home to families that are buoyant and you can't break momentum. You know, it's going to be. I know it's going to be a little while before we get into the Prada Cup final, but they will draw so much from this going forward.
Guy's been in the last 3 America's Cups. 1, 2, lost 1. When he speaks, Nathan, when Jimmy speaks, they better listen, right?
Yeah, I've just been listening to you guys chatting while we've been steaming down the side of the track next to them, and everything you say about this team is spot on. The confidence is coming at the right time. You can hear the voices, you can hear the chat on board. It's confident chat. They're sailing the boat smart, winning the start, sailing it fast. I bet you if I was in the Ineos camp right now, watching what we've seen the last 2 days, they'd be a bit nervous, I think.
Nathan, you've raced against Jimmy Spittle. What does he bring? What do competitors fear?
A little bit choppier down there.
Well, he never gives up, that's for sure. We saw that in San Francisco.
Good pressure.
He's a real professional, and you know, he's a big team player. And at the end of the day, winning America's Cup is about being a team player. Yes, his name is Jimmy Spittle, but he's just one cog in this big wheel of Luna Rossa. And you know, I'm really impressed in how Francesco Bruni stepped it up as well. I think there's plenty of talent on this boat, and they're just learning how to race this boat as a team.
Okay, my rudder. It's going to go here.
Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli heading towards the finish line in race 4 of the Prada Cup semi-finals. And you can be guaranteed the flags will be waving, because Luna Rossa, Prada Pirelli have just guaranteed themselves a spot in the Prada Cup final. It's done. It will be Luna Rossa against Ineos Team UK in the Prada Cup final on the Hauraki Gulf.
Nice one. Now Ineos, boys.
No, it's me against you.
You also, mate. You take it.
I will.
And straight away, the attention from Jimmy Spittle says straight away, he goes, now Ineos, boys. Wow, straight away.
We haven't heard a lot of Jimmy Spittle, have we? But now he can sniff a battle.
When you talk about battles, Kenny, you talk about helmsmen, Jimmy Spittle, Francesco Bruni against Ben Ainsley. Let's throw in Joel Scott as well. My lips, I'm starting to water. They're starting to go. I'm getting excited now.
Sorry, I'm struggling here a little bit. I'm blown away by how this has ended for the Americans. I know how much. Congratulations to you. Don't get me wrong, and we're not here to pick sides. I just feel sorry for any team who goes out like this. It's unfair. Sport is unfair sometimes, and this has been brutally unfair. History books will have to write it as it wishes as to where the fault lies, if fault lies anywhere at all. It's just, I know how hard people work in these programs, and this is just This is a shame. There's no other word for it.
I mean, let's remember, this is their first outing in the Cup for this team. They're 3 years in. The other teams, you know, much more years to build up all that IP and that experience.
Down a click here.
They have, though, shown, I mean, a real grit and determination. And I just hope, Kenny, that they'll be back, that the New York Yacht Club will see this as the beginning, not as the end.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The New York Yacht Club traditionally isn't going anywhere. You know, that's they feel the Cup is part of the blood of the New York Yacht Club of 44th Street and Harbor Court, and all the people who are members are so passionate about not just American Magic, but about the America's Cup in general. And I guess that room in the back of 44th Street and that case is going to stay empty for another little time being.
It takes me back to an interview that we showed around the world of Terry Hutchinson, the skipper, and that one simple desire. That it's almost a fixation with wanting to be at the table at the New York Yacht Club of skippers that have won the America's Cup.
Yeah, start the turn.
And that's not going to happen.
I will.
And the personal angst that must come with that
Penalty clear.
and finishing like this must be enormous. It quite simply must be heartbreaking.
I really feel for Terry Hutchinson. He made this happen. He brought in the backers. He brought his team together. His band of brothers. They're so tight. And even when things were really difficult, even following the capsize, Stephen, he led his team from the front in an extraordinary way. This final leg must be so difficult.
The boat Patriot.
It's a good fight, man.
Representing the New York Yacht Club.
Tight, boys.
And American Magic comes to the finish of race 4 in the semi-finals. But the campaign for American Magic and the New York Yacht Club is over.
If you can get me to get a board down, I'll go east up once we get it far enough under for rev.
I'll try going board down here, like I may get it.
Yeah, or even just go capsize mode, and I'll see if I can get an east up after we get the boards under.
Yeah, I'll just give it a couple of secs here. It just seems like
still in race mode, still thinking.
Actually, I'll go into the zero mode when it does go.
You can just look at the body language of the grinders. Confirmation, race 4 of the Prada Cup semi-finals. It is a perfect 4-0 record to Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. They advance to the Prada Cup final on the back of a 3-minute and 51-second win against American Magic. Let's go on board Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli and talk once again to Francesco Bruni. Francesco, you talked earlier this week about getting faster and faster. The team's so determined. How satisfying right now. You are into the Prada Cup final, so you can sniff it.
Yeah, we are sniffing revenge on Ineos. We are very happy, obviously. We are very happy to have this second chance to be in the Prada Cup final. I'm very proud with the team because we made some huge step forward compared to last weekend. So in 5 days the boat is completely transformed. We are sailing better. The whole team is at another level.
Keiko, you mentioned in the press conference last night about being sportsmen, winning, losing, everything else. It's kind of a shame to have to win a race like that, don't you think, when the other team just can't function?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we had a great start. We demonstrate once again that we are strong in the starting line, and we were ready for a fair and nice and sportive battle. But unfortunately, the Americans had some problems. I don't know with what kind, but it was clear that they couldn't. Their boat was not functioning well, and I'm very sorry for it. Honestly, I feel that they have done a fantastic job being back after what they have gone through. And their boat was a good boat. Their team was a great team. And I mean, it's sad. It's really sad because yeah, they are great competitors. I wish almost they would have been longer racing, but yeah, I take the win for the moment.
Francesco, massive congratulations. I can't tell you how impressed we've been with the change and the development in the last 5 days, not only in the boat, but the way you're sailing. I mean, very slick, very ruthless. That was in 5 days. You now have a couple of weeks. What are we going to see when we see that head-to-head with Sir Ben Ainsley?
Well, I think we're going to see some good racing. I think that if we keep improving the performance of the boats with this speed, it's going to be a very good racing against Ben. It's all about improving, and our ramp is going up very steep.
Francesco, it is an amazing day for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. We know that Terry is listening into this. Have you any words to say to Terry at the end of their campaign?
I think they have to be proud of what they've done, really proud of what they've done. I mean, I don't think that it's hard for any team to react the way they did and to put the boat in the water and be competitive. I think today, only the last race, they had some problems. I mean, they have been some fantastic competitors, really, truly, from the depth of my heart.
Terry, would you like to respond to Francesco's words?
Oh, yeah, thank you, Kiko, for that. You know, we have the utmost respect for Luna Rossa, and what they've done over the course of really 8 weeks of development. They've done an incredible job, and you know, as you know, these things are all team efforts. It's not just one person, and so our hats are off to them, and we wish them the best of luck as they go into the Prada Cup finals. We'd also just, you know, extend a thanks to Mr. Bertelli for sponsoring this regatta and for getting us all here to New Zealand, because they're truly, these boats are incredible boats, and you know, obviously the last really 4 races weren't our best, but you know, just the highest praise for the entire American Magic team for overcoming what we did to get the boat back out on the water. It would have been easy to stop.
Terry, the New York Yacht Club back in the game for the first time in 18 years, but the brutal reality today was shown how tough it is to try and win the America's Cup. Can you describe your emotions right now?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think, you know, it's obviously disappointing. As I said yesterday, there's not a person inside of our team that that likes losing, and so in that you have 135 Type 8 personalities all pushing for the same thing and the same goal and the same result. And, you know, we're proud to represent the New York Yacht Club and the legacy of the club in the America's Cup. We're proud to represent our country. And, you know, I think what you saw when Patriot got back out on the water was a high level of resolve in an entire team to make sure that it happened and to not let the program end like that. And, you know, yesterday was hard. Today we sailed the boat better. Obviously, high marks to Luna Rossa for their starts and how they, you know, develop that. You know, that is with 2 relatively even boats, you know, that becomes the game changer. So, yeah, like I said, I have nothing but pride for what we've done over the last 3.5 years. You know, obviously our measure is the result sheet, and so without question, that is the most disappointing part. But, you know, all we can do is take it on the chin, understand our strengths and weaknesses from here, and move the whole game forward. And, you know, if we're fortunate enough to be back in the 37th America's Cup, then we'll learn from these mistakes and we'll be better for it.
Hey, Terry, with that said, you got Hap Fouth, Roger Penske, Doug DeVos, and the members of the club, the huge support that they've all given. Has there ever been any talk about the future? You kind of alluded just to it right there. I know it's early and fresh. Has there ever been a talk of the future? Is this an ongoing project?
That's a great question, and no, I mean, the short answer is no, there hasn't been. But I think we've developed a great team here, and we've developed a great infrastructure. And you know, when you look back over the course of history, I believe Alinghi was one of the few challengers ever to come in and win on their first go-around. So, you know, there's a lot of debriefing to take place, a lot of understanding to take place. I know, you know, we have an incredibly smart design team. We have a great boat building team. We have a great sailing team. And yet, you know, we probably made the mountain a little too big to climb this time. So, you know, what doesn't kill you is going to make you stronger. So we're going to just have to be stronger.
Terry, you know, you measure great sportsmen not just in wins, but how they lead in adversity. And it has been a pleasure watching you this last couple of weeks. It's been so impressive to be around that. Around the USA and the family and the team who are watching this broadcast, who have been supporting you throughout all of this, do you want to take this moment and just send a message to them?
One sec, okay? Well, first, you just got to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to Doug DeVos and to Roger Penske, to Hap Valve, to Commodore Lutz and to Commodore Culver for really the incredible support of the New York Yacht Club and the membership, for all the work that they've done. You know, they've been with us all the way through this journey. And as we know, it's hard, you know, but they've been unwavering. And, you know, when I spoke to Hap this morning, you know, he was nothing but encouraging, and Doug is nothing but encouraging, and Roger's the same, you know. And so, you know, it's so hard because we, you know, we're racers and we want to win. And yet you go off the dock and you see the amount of support that you get from our families and, you know, really the entire team. And, you know, at the end, that's, it helps keep it in perspective. You know, we're racing sailboats. We're very, very lucky to be here in New Zealand. I think the competitors showed an incredible amount of sportsmanship and really demonstrated what sailing is about to the highest level when they all reacted to, you know, Patriots near sinking. So in that regard, you know, it's just a heartfelt thank you.
Terry, one final thought. At a personal level, how hard is this for you right now?
It's brutal. It will, you know, yeah, it's just brutal. You know, excuse me. We've had a lot of people support us, and so ultimately you feel a responsibility to that. And you know, I wear these things, as you can tell, on my sleeve, and so, you know, this stuff is brutal because this was, you know, what Doug and Roger and Hap and the club gave us was the opportunity of a lifetime, and it would, you know, it's disappointing to have it end in this manner because I know that we're better than this. But, you know, there's really no other words because we're competitors. And, you know, you just, yeah, you know, we've done it long enough that, you know, somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. And we always felt that we were prepared and we'd done things in the correct manner to be on the right side of things here. And so, you know, I think we have to go back and, as I said earlier, evaluate the mistakes that were made and what we could have done better. But yeah, I mean, I would think the word brutal just sums it all up.
Terry, on behalf of the whole America's Cup community, particularly from us as broadcasters, thank you so much for being a great competitor and sportsman, but most importantly, for being a true gentleman. Good luck.
Cheers. Thank you.
So a dramatic day on the Hauraki Gulf. And that boat there, Luna Rossa, heading back in towards its base to celebrate the fact that they have made the Prada Cup final in 2021, but they face a formidable opponent in Ineos Team UK. Jimmy Spittle, Francesco Bruni, the twin helm doing its job when it mattered against an opponent that sadly just couldn't perform today after what happened back on January 17 when they almost sank that beautiful boat, Patriot. But they came back and they gave it a nudge. And just when you thought they were going to give it a true full tilt, they had a gear failure. But why? Wow. You come back, Kenny, Shirley, and you've said it before, sport is just unforgiving. And it provides us many, many storylines. And today, right now, the storyline will be Luna Rossa wins and is into the Prada Cup final. So let's just confirm the standings from this semi-final series that has only taken 48 hours. You needed 4 wins to get through, and for Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, it was 4-0 against American Magic. So if you're just learning about the America's Cup in 2021, this is how it has worked out. You start with 3 challenges, and then the top challenger goes straight through on the points to the Prada Cup final. That is Ineos Team UK. And we've just completed the semi-final series. And one of those teams had to go through. It was Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Now we're 2 weeks away from the start of the Prada Cup final. That's right, 2 weeks. More development time for both campaigns. Ineos Team UK and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. And then one of those teams, whoever makes it to 7 races first, has the honour to challenge Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender, in the match for the 36th America's Cup. Will it be the ever-improving Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, or will it be what is one of the real stories, Ineos Team UK, a helming battle to quench your thirst with? But we leave you today with an ode to American Magic. Shirley and Kenny, so much promise at the beginning. They bought Patriot first in New Zealand. They were first challenger onto the water. And wow, what a journey it's taken us on, Ken.
It's just all happened so fast. That's the thing that blows me away. It feels like we started this regatta a week and a half ago. And forget the sinking, forget the sport, the emotion. It just seems it's over for these guys. I can't even fathom that it's over for these guys. Knowing how much work, the trials and tribulations on Narragansett Bay, the dealing with the realities of trying to put a team and hold a team like this together. And then, of course, this. I mean, this is going to be one of the most just talked about capsizes in history. Fortunately, nobody is hurt. But man, oh man, is this the thing that took this program down? Again, historians will have a field day with this one, Shirley.
They showed real promise and improvement up until this point. And I think the 3 of us sitting here, none of us thought that this boat would race again. And when we look back in this moment, it's a real moment of this cup, isn't it? The sailing community coming together, working tirelessly for 9 days to get Patriot out on the water again. It was a fairy tale in a way. But I think when Terry Hutchinson looks back with a bit of perspective on this campaign, there'll be positives. It was a short campaign, only 3 years. Ineos, they're in it 8 years already. And hopefully they'll be back for more.
And here's hoping the sun shines again on another campaign from the New York Yacht Club. But in 2021, it has not been one that has been favourable to that beautiful boat called Patriot. But the one thing they did, and they did with pride, they never gave up. But it's time to move on, because in 2 weeks' time, we're into the Prada Cup final, and Luna Rossa will face Ineos Team UK.
Today's America's Cup racing is brought to you by North Sails.